What's up, y'all? We're back. So it's October, which means it is LGBTQ History Month. Goddamn, LGBTQ. Just saying that made me hungry. LGBTQ sound like some mustard and onions go on, don't it? Since it is LGBTQ History Month, keeping in the consistency of things that we discuss here on this channel, I want to place a special emphasis on Black LGBTQ film. So I thought it would be more than appropriate to compile a list of 10 Black LGBTQ films that are worth seeing. There are so many wonderful films that share our experiences and our narratives, and representation matters. And sadly, a lot of people haven't seen these films, so I'm putting them out there for you to check out. If you've seen them, great. Watch them again. Any connoisseur of our film definitely has these films in their collection. Some of them you may have seen, some of them you may have not. If you haven't seen them, check them out. And if you have, cool. Also share films that you think we need to see as well in the comments. And share your thoughts on some of these films. So, let's get to it. Alright, number 10. Number 10 is Holiday Heart. Holiday Heart came out in 2000. It is directed by Robert Townsend. It stars Ving Rhames, Alfred Woodard, and Jessica Reynolds. It's a very powerful film. I think I still see it from time to time on like TV One and stuff. As a matter of fact, they show that shit in rotation. I thought this film was great because it showed first of all, it made it to an urban an urban platform, which is where we really still need to have a lot of conversations about Black sexuality at. And it forced them to see how we contribute to our community. In fact, like, we're pillars of the community as Black LGBT people. This drag queen who was played by Ving Rhames basically took this drug addict mother and her daughter and took care of them. And that's what it's about, and it shows the challenges that they faced and the compassion they had to develop and the understanding they had to develop of each other and the lessons that we just learn from each other by helping each other. So it's a very powerful film. Make sure you check it out. And number 9 is Noah's Ark, Jumping the Broom. It came out in 2008. It was directed by Patrick Ian Polk. It stars Daryl Stevens, Rodney Chester, who else? Christian Vincent and Douglas Spearman. Y'all, I don't know how many y'all were around when Noah's Ark was coming on TV, but that show will always be iconic. I think it was a lifesaver. I remember being like 19 or 20 when it came out, and that was the time I was dating. I had started going out to clubs and stuff, and my group of friends, we would get together and we would sit on the floor at one of the guys that I was dating house. And we all gathered with our boyfriends, and we would sit on the ground, we would sit on the floor, and we would watch it and talk about it. And in a time where we were struggling, some of us, to come out to our parents and to really own our identities, it was awesome seeing these Black gay men deal with like love and HIV and all this stuff that is a reality for a lot of us on this show, and we related to it. We were sad that after 2 seasons, Logo took it off. That was one of the dumbest things that Logo did, because it was one of the highest rated shows on the network. But child, whatever. Anyway, I'm happy that they gave us Jumping the Broom, because it was an extension of the show, and it showed us, where they went. And really, if you want to tell the truth, the show should still be coming on. There's no reason why it shouldn't be in like season 15 or some shit right now. It should have been on for at least 5 seasons, is what I'm saying. Anyway, the film was very entertaining. It highlighted a lot of the things that we have to deal with as Black gay men around love and relationships and self-worth, coming out, jealousy, insecurities. It was a very powerful film, and more than anything, I was living in DC at the time. I remember going to the East Street Cinema and the theater being packed with Black gay men and their mamas and their aunties and their dates. Sometimes people came with men who weren't their boyfriends, and we saw some people in there find that out in the theater, but that's not here or there. We're here to talk about the movies. Anyway, it was just a great bonding experience for us as a community, and it's nostalgia. And anybody who hasn't seen that story, you're missing out. It's just a really fun story, and it's very relatable, and the characters are all relatable in some way. So make sure you check out Noah's Ark, Jumping the Broom. Number 8 is The Skinny. The Skinny came out in 2012. It's another film directed by Patrick Ian Polk, creative visionary. It stars Jussie Smollett, Blake Youngfountain, Anthony Burrell, and it's basically a film about like four friends who went to New York, and I think like they trying to get laid and they just trying to have a good time. You know, we can all relate to meeting up with our friends and going out and trying to live our best life. It's a story that I thought was very powerful because it touched on a lot of things that black gay films don't touch on, a lot of realities. It even went there as far as sexual hygiene. It talked about fleeting. It talked about STDs. It even covered heartbreak, sex parties. In my opinion, it was one of Patrick Ian Polk's best films. It's another film that I remember going to the theater and us packing the theater and celebrating, seeing ourselves, and we laughed and we hissed. Like, that story it definitely moved us, and it's worth seeing. Number 7 is definitely one of my favorite films. It's one of my favorite films overall. It's definitely one of my favorite black gay films. A lot of people haven't seen it, and it's a shame. Dirty Laundry. Dirty Laundry came out in 2006, and just like Holiday Heart, it's another one of those films that reached that urban market where it allowed a lot of our moms and aunties and other folks, like church folks, went to see this. Everybody went to see this. And it allowed us to confront a lot of realities about sexuality and family in our community. It starred Loretta Devine, Jennifer Lewis, Terry J. Vaughn, Rockman Dunbar. It was directed by the wonderful Maurice Jamal. And it basically was about this black gay dude who moved from Georgia to New York to reestablish his identity under his own terms. And then when he came back home, he had to reestablish a connection with his family, and I think reconnecting to his roots, and it allowed him to find something deeper in himself and really accept himself, and allowed his mother to become not overbearing and accept him as he was, and his partner. And the chemistry on screen between Loretta Devine and Jennifer Lewis is heavenly. And it's a laugh out loud dramatic comedy that will touch you, and I think it's worth seeing. So make sure you check out Dirty Laundry. Number 6 is Pariah. It came out in 2011. It's directed by Dee Rees. And actually, one of the things that I really enjoyed about this film, in addition to it being a very powerful coming-of-age film about a young black lesbian, is Kim Wayans, who we know for being hilarious, is in this film playing a very dramatic role as the mother who has to come to terms with her daughter's sexuality. She's not here for it at all. It's just about female sexuality. It is about family acceptance. I think it touches on religion a little bit, teenage heartbreak, really learning to walk away from unhealthy family situations and make decisions for you. And I remember, again, going to East Street Cinema when I was living in DC, and we weren't able to see this film for like 2 weeks because all the showings were sold out. And it's one of the first black gay films that I remember grossing over $1 million at the box office. It's powerful. It's going to touch you. It might make you mad a little bit. And it's very well done, and I'm happy that it exists, and I was able to see it when it came out. Up next is Tontons Attack. Tontons Attack came out in 1989. It's a documentary by Marlon Riggs, and it features all of our black gay forefathers: Essex Hempfield, Joseph Beam, Asado Saint, Marlon Riggs. It spoke about our experiences in the 80s, dealing with politics, religion, self-acceptance, relationships, sex, AIDS, all the different things that we didn't get to hear directly from a lot of our elders because they passed due to the AIDS epidemic. And so it's a very powerful film to help me understand what our culture is about and our history, and I'm very happy that it exists. It's definitely a reference guide for the places that we've come from, and it's totally worth seeing. And it's a film that's very powerful and very necessary, and that I think every black gay person should see, and anybody who's involved politically and socially should see this very powerful documentary. So again, if you haven't seen Tontons Attack, make sure you go check it out. Number 3 is Brother Outsider. Brother Outsider came out in 2003. It is a documentary about Bayard Rustin. Bayard Rustin sadly was almost erased from history. A lot of people don't know who Bayard Rustin is. Bayard Rustin is one of the pioneers of the civil rights movement, and he is a black gay man. A lot of people don't understand how impactful we've been as black gay people to our community and the movement that allowed us to have the rights that we do have today, even though we hanging on to those motherfuckers by a string. If it wasn't for this black gay man being Martin Luther King's right-hand man and helping him learn the nonviolent philosophy and different strategies used to help us gain rights and jobs and equity and things like that, we wouldn't be where we are today. It also exposed a little bit of his tea, which it helps to look at him as a human being, as a complicated human being, something that we don't get to be in media, and it helped us relate to Bayard Rustin and really understand him as a person and the brilliant human being and political strategist that he was and that he does not get credit for. So make sure you check out Brother Outsider. Number 2, y'all, if you've seen this film, you're going to automatically say, okay, I knew he was going to add this in there. But number 2 is Moonlight. It came out in 2016. It was directed by Barry Jenkins, written by Terrell Alvin McCraney, another brilliant creative visionary, and it stars that fine ass, Trevante Rhodes. Trevante Rhodes, Mahershala Ali, Janelle Monáe, Naomi Harris, and it's a coming-of-age story about black male sexuality and identity and the struggles that a lot of us face when we are emotionally abandoned by parents, or what you've experienced growing up with a parent who was negligent or a drug addict or any of those things, and what overcoming those challenges look like, and also just coming to terms with who you are. And that's one of the things that made it so relatable. Some people who've seen it were in their feelings or felt some type of way about it because the two characters didn't have sex with each other, but they didn't need to have sex because the film itself spoke deeply enough to just so much. And I mean, if you want to see us go have sex, you can look at any YouTube gay black web series and that's all they doing is fucking. So please, I applauded the cinematography of it, the colors, the way that it was shot, the dialogue. It was very powerful, and I remember seeing it in the Bay Area mostly, and just seeing how much white people were captivated by it. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done around humanizing black people for some reason, and it was very powerful, most of all, seeing this black gay film win an Academy Award for Film of the Year, something that I never thought I would live to see. And that is why I put it as number 2 on the list. Number 1 is Paris is Burning. I am shocked and appalled by how many black gay folks have not seen Paris is Burning. Paris is Burning is like one of the holy grail of black gay films. It's a powerful documentary about ballroom culture, houses, how these different black and Latinx LGBTQ folks who were homeless and kicked out and abandoned and tossed aside by society band together and created families amongst each other and went into something called ballroom culture, and that was their moment to shine. And our culture now benefits so much from the way that they built it, and you also get to see how so many mainstream artists have capitalized off of this underground culture that so many of them suffered to create and never got credit for. It was, even making the film, I hate to say this, but it's the truth, even the film, like when the film was created, a lot of the queens and stuff weren't properly compensated for the film. Nonetheless, it's still very important for us to watch it because it highlights so many things that are relatable, and it has so much rich history, so many legendary icons from our community. Dory and Corey, they found a mummy in that bitch's wall. She killed somebody and put a mummy in that motherfucking wall. But she tried to kill her first, so in self-defense, she did what she had to do, okay? Just goes to show, don't you fuck with these drag queens out here, okay? Willie Ninja, who's another icon. Pepper LaBeija. I'm missing one. It's a bunch of them. I'm just trying to compile the list as quickly as possible. Anyway, it's just everybody on there was legendary and iconic, and it just shared so many important parts of our history that are worth checking out. And this is a film that is very necessary to have in your film collection if you collect Black LGBT films and documentaries. So, I hope you enjoyed my list. Make sure you check out these 10 films. If you have any input, make sure you include it. How do you feel about these films that I shared? Have you seen them? Also, leave any of your recommendations below. There are lots of them that I left out, but I just wanted to share these 10 because there's so many people who haven't seen these 10, and this is a great starting point. So make sure you check out these films. Also, if you have Instagram and you're not following me, what are you waiting for? Follow me on Instagram at Samson McCormick. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications so you see these fabulous videos when I come on. In the meantime, check out these films, celebrate yourself every day, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time. Bye.